My name is Joshua, and I am the Tribune. In my last video, I clearly outlined how God is going to be taking his sword and chopping off purpose from people who are disobedient and who won't follow his instructions and are dabbling in Satan stuff and think they're just going to do whatever they want. These people who are going to be reassigned, their missions are so important that God has to move forward on them, no matter if they're there or not. It doesn't make a difference. But in this message, God has ordered me to speak to the people who he is going to be finding to give these new assignments to, that they actually didn't expect to even receive. Now, these people, it's important to understand that it's people who have been God's friend or who are seeking friendship with God. The reason for this is when God finds you with these new commissions that you didn't expect, you are not going to have the talent to complete them. You're not going to have the knowledge to even understand how to piece these things together. You are going to have to actually rely on your relationship with Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit and God the Father to teach you how he wants his plans put together and executed. This is why he's chosen you. This is why he's picked you for these new assignments that you really didn't think you were going to get. They're absolutely not on your radar. Because he knows that he has friendship with you, or he's about to have friendship with you, so he knows that he can teach you. Because if you're a friend of God, he can teach you anything. He can teach you anything he wants to teach you in order to be successful in what his purpose is for your life. Now, with that said, I have to then address what it's like to receive an assignment like this. First, how do you know that this is an assignment? How do you know that he's going to come and bring you something like this, which is a reassigned assignment that really you weren't supposed to have, but he's giving it to you because somebody else would not do what he wants, and he needs to get it done? The way you know is it's something that is totally outside of your normal sphere. It's something that you wouldn't really even think that he would bring to you. It's something that would just never cross your mind that it's like, oh, well, this is something I'll be doing in my life. No, it's something that is totally outside of you. It's something that he puts on your spirit with the desire, like you actually already have that talent when you really don't. He puts a desire in your heart so deep that you have a deep passion about this thing. So deep, he gives you his heart on that matter, on that assignment. Now, when you feel this, you must not ignore it. You must not think that something's wrong, or you are now going crazy, or you're now going too far into another purpose, and you're making a mistake. No, it doesn't mean that you now leave your original assignment. That's not what that means. What it means is you actually add on that other assignment that he's bringing to you and putting your heart towards. You incorporate it into the things he's already been talking to you about. So that's how you know that he's doing this, is when it's out of your sphere. It's out of the norm for you. It's something you never thought about. It's something you're very intimidated about because you have no idea how to do it. You didn't prepare for this. Now, the next thing you have to know when you receive an assignment like this that is reassigned from somebody else's stuff that they actually didn't do is you have to rely not on your talent. It's important to rely on what you've built with God and what you're building with God in relationship with him. Because our God is so awesome and so beautiful that when he wants something done, even if you don't have the expertise, you feel like you're not qualified to do this thing, he will actually take you in his hand and methodically teach you. Even everything that he taught the last person that actually wouldn't do what he was wanting, he will actually take that training and give it to you. He will actually supernatural give you the gifts to do exactly what you need to do for this new assignment that he's actually reassigned to you. And you have to understand, it's an absolute honor to get this. So what it means is that your relationship with God is or is going to be so strong that he trusts you to actually take what he's given you, that you don't even know how to do it, and that you, based off of your pure relationship with him, you are actually going to carry this thing forth. Now, I would argue that this is the greatest witness ever. Because when people see that you have been called to do this new thing, on top of what you already were going to do, that people would say, wow, well, she is talented in that, or he is amazing at that. No, that's great. And even that, he will give you something that's way higher than you could even do, which is already a witness. But this is a very unusual witness he's preparing you to be. Because there's going to be no foundation for this new assignment that's been reassigned to you. So when he's ordered me to talk about this to you, I am directly talking to the people that he's going to come find and give these assignments to, or has already been giving these assignments to, because people already have gotten their purposes completely canceled and reassigned. He's doing this right now. So I know there's some people out there who are actually already been going through this. They've already received things like, wait, what? Where did this cannot be God. It has to be me making this up, because this doesn't make any sense. I don't even know. I didn't have a heart for this thing yesterday. God just placed this thing on my heart so powerfully, just like my own stuff that I've already been doing with him. This is how you know. And this is the witness. The witness is that if you have a beautiful relationship with him that's very strong, which he wants with each of us, you can specifically do things purely off of your relationship. You can do things that are so amazing that will astound the world, that you don't even know how to do it. You're just talking to God. So the next thing is, what do you do when God comes and brings something like this to you that has been reassigned from somebody else who is fooling around, who they can't get this back? That's another thing. Side note, these people cannot get this back. Once God cuts, it's over. It's now yours. And you need to treat it just like your baby. You need to treat it exactly like you treated your other baby with him. Because he actually has had you adopt something. And he brought it to you knowing that you would actually adopt it like it was your own child. So, what do you do when this comes to you? You seek God's face. That's what you do. Because what happens afterwards is he's going to start speaking to you about this thing. He is going to train you of how to think about this thing. He's going to put you through extra training to make sure that you can actually prepare this thing properly. He's going to make sure that he walks you through every single step so that you are confident that you can oversee this task. Now, it could be anything. I'm not going to go down the list of all things it could be, because it could be anything. But that's what you do when you get an assignment like this. You have to make sure that you're listening very well to God, because he's a master teacher. He can teach you anything. And he wants to teach you. This is not something he's going to dump on you and just leave you and just be like, well, figure that out. No. He's going to dump it and then sit right down with you and help you build it from scratch. So it's important to understand, as you move forward in completing reassigned assignments that you didn't expect, you need to make sure that you're also carrying forth your other assignments that he's already given you. You have to make sure that you listen to God and strategically join his rhythm of how he wants to carry everything forward, because when he adds new things to your plate, only he can manage that. You cannot manage it. You need him to manage his stuff through you. So another thing he's going to do is teach you how to actually have a rhythm for these things. And I would actually argue that he is going to show you also how to incorporate it into things you already have. This is another important thing. When he gives you a new thing or a new assignment you didn't expect, you need to look around. You need to incorporate it into what you've already been given. It's a clue. It's like putting together a puzzle. And in fact, the new assignment that he's giving you that you didn't expect really should enhance the other thing he gave you. And the thing he already gave you should give you clues and enhance the new thing he gave you. Another very important thing when you get an assignment that's been reassigned is you have to look at all the principles he's already taught you in your stuff with him before he gave you this new assignment. Because there are principles that you can use that he's already taught you that you can apply to this new thing that you didn't expect that he was going to give you and assign you. That's partly why he gave you the commission. He gave you this new commission, not just because you're his friend, but because you specialize in a certain field. You specialize in certain principles that he's been teaching you on this side. He's not random. He doesn't look around and just throw commissions out and he's just throwing everything and he's just, no, you, I don't, just who? You just do it, figure it out and we'll do it together. No, he is very methodical. So he's looking and saying, I know I gave him these principles already through my relationship with him. So this assignment that I had to strip and cancel from this person over here, I'm actually going to give it to this person because they actually have the foundation of principles that they can apply and transfer over. This is very powerful. Not to say that you don't need his help and you just transfer principles and move on and just do it with ease. What I'm saying is you still need his guidance, but he's going to show you how to use the principles he's taught you for the new thing. Now, it's very important that I have another side note. You have to be a Christian to get these kind of assignments. Not only that, you must be God's friend or being on the way to being God's friend to get these assignments. It's impossible to get these assignments. You won't even know they exist because it's way out of your sphere. You can only even hear these things if you're God's friend. That's the importance of being God's friend, is that he can speak to you on a whim for something that you don't even know exists. That's the relationship. So you have to be God's friend to do this. In fact, this is specifically why he had his sword cut off purpose from other people, because they didn't want to be his friends. They wanted to party. They wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. They wanted their agenda to move forth, and they didn't want to check in with God. They wanted to move forward on certain things that he said no, and they didn't want to throw things in the fire like their idols and their sin. So he said, you don't want friendship with me? I love you, but I cannot do this assignment with you. So he cut off all the medals and handed them to you. Now, the next important point here is to make sure that you understand the person he has given these new assignments to, that have been reassigned, is that you also can be reassigned. Don't get so arrogant that he gives you a new assignment and you think you're his golden child now, that you think you're exempt from being reassigned. You are absolutely not exempt from that. This is what you do to make sure that you don't get your stuff reassigned and the things he reassigned to you get reassigned. You stay in friendship with him. You stand right next to him. You do exactly what he wants you to do. And this is fun because while you're doing that, you're actually learning how he thinks. He's teaching you to think like him. He's teaching you how to respond and act like him. He's teaching you how to create. This is the God of the universe we're talking about. So in these assignments, when you get these assignments, you have to understand that these assignments are being reassigned because they're so important to him. They're extremely important. They must be done. And if you reassign something, it means that it has to be moved on now. This doesn't mean you get reassigned and suddenly you're like, oh, well, I'll just, Wow, he gave me a new thing. I'm just going to I'll touch that in a few months because I got some other stuff to do. No, you don't. That would be the most foolish thing to do, because you have to perceive that his reassignment, his canceling of somebody else's purpose and giving it to you, means that there was a deadline for that. That means you have a deadline. This is why he's looking to find people who will keep the deadlines. And people who don't understand this about God, it's very scary, because they don't understand that he actually has an agenda that he has planned out that needs to go forward. So when you receive this, you need to immediately check with his agenda. God, what do you want me to start doing with this right now? What are the steps? Where are my deadlines? What do I have to do this week? This month, what do I have to do? By September or by June or whatever, where do you need me to be? And how do I have your rhythm to get to that place with this new assignment while I'm keeping up with what you've already given me? This is how you need to be thinking when you receive something like this. Now, another thing I need to say is that you should never feel bad about God coming and bringing you an assignment that you know shouldn't be yours, and he's actually reassigned somebody. He has actually taken them off the project and assigned it to you and said, here, you take this. I need you to do this. Never feel bad for something like this, because that person had 1,000 chances. They actually refused to do this. This isn't something they didn't get a chance and they're just like, oh, well, God's like, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to you, but I'm going to watch you and see if you can perceive this impossible thing. And then if you're not, I'm going to snatch it from you. No, that's not, no. He gave them so many chances, it's insane. So you need to be very happy. Relish what God has given you. Own it. It's yours. He has chosen you to do this. It's extremely important to understand this, because this is a matter of you having peace or not. It's very important to God to make sure you have peace in his assignments and in his purpose for you. This is what purpose is about. It's the ultimate fulfillment. So it would be so foolish for you to feel guilty about something like this. And Satan will try to come and find you and tell you, no, you don't deserve this. You're not qualified for this. Is this really yours? You need to say absolutely. And you need to have a smile on your face and be very, very thankful. Because what it's saying is God is very proud of you. And he's proud that you have actually moved forward in the process and your heart posture is correct with him as a friend, that he trusts you enough to give you something that he knows you didn't plan for and that he never told you were going to be doing. This is where the power is. So, and these people who got reassigned, you have to understand, they're probably still trying to work on it. Because God's not going to tell you get reassigned. That's the craziest part. And you need to know this for yourself. God's not going to tell you got reassigned. He's just going to let you move on. And if you want to keep working on that thing for a year, 2 years, and you won't even know. They'll just keep working on it when really he's moved on. He's working on it with you. Why does this happen like this? Because the people are not being his friends. They're not checking in with him. They're not throwing things into the fire. They're not sacrificing. They're ignoring his agenda. They're selfish. They're prideful. They're moving in their own way. So they cannot hear him. So they're already moving in their own way. So they're going to continue. I said this in the last video. The people who get reassigned will just be moving on and they have no idea that they've been reassigned. They will see their stuff get done without them. And that's when they'll finally get it. And hopefully, if they're even still around when this happens, they will actually come to Christ as a friend. And maybe he'll have something else for them to do. So we as people who receive the reassigned missions of other people that just weren't obedient and procrastinated and stuff, we need to understand that we are not exempt from this. We need to be very, very perceptive of why that happened and make sure we are not moving in that direction ever. We need to make sure we're right next to him. It was very confusing for me when I started receiving so many commissions that I never planned for. It was absolutely insane. I was getting very concerned. And it actually made my preparation process even longer. In fact, right now, as I'm talking to you, most of the things that God is having me say are things that pastors should be saying. The flock, they should be guiding the flock correctly and saying hard truths to them. I actually never even planned to stand up and talk to you right now. This was never my plan to do this. This is a reassignment that he just came and said, I need you to do this. Because I like using vessels. It's not that he's just knee groveling, I need you. He's not like that. It's his pleasure to use a vessel. It's his pleasure to use somebody who doesn't have the experience. It's his absolute joy to work with us and partner with us on special tasks. He wants relationship. So, this is how he thinks about these things. And you want to be the person who, after he strips somebody of their purpose because they don't consider his agenda and they're not obedient, you want him to take all that treasure and all those metals that he just stripped them of, and you want him to look throughout the earth and say, I want her, you're the perfect person, I trust you. Because I've been watching what you've been doing with me on your other assignments. My last point is here. The way you prove yourself as God's friend and you receive new assignments like this, the reassigned assignments, is you do well on the current assignment he's talking to you about. You execute it with precision and passion and absolute obedience. This is the only way. So I can tell you that if you're not doing that, and you have something when you're like, oh, well, maybe this is reassigned because it's something that I would never think of. But you're not actually listening to God with what you're doing right now and you have your own agenda, then maybe it's not a reassignment for you. Because you know it's a reassignment because you're able to snap right into place and move forward with precision with God like you did on something you're familiar with. This is exactly what you need to know for yourself. And there's many different pieces of this that I'm going to be talking about over time because he is actually handing out so many different assignments to people that are reassigned. It's crazy. In fact, the people who are like what I'm saying, you need to be looking for these assignments. You need to be very, very conscious of assignments like this because he is dealing them out. It's crazy. He has more than you can hold. He has them in his hand. So look for these things while you're preparing the things he's already told you. Some people are going to see this and be so mad. Many people are going, oh, how dare he? Doesn't matter. It makes no difference. I can't help that these people haven't been listening to God. It's not even my place. I'm just going to stand with my hand open and say, God, if you need me to take care of whatever you want, that's extra. You give it to me, we'll do it. Because I'm your friend, I want to help you. Not because he needs help again. That's not what I'm saying. He doesn't need help. He enjoys the relationship. It gives him pleasure. And that's what he's looking for. But it doesn't matter what people think about this. It makes no difference at all. There's nothing they can do about it. All they can do about it is make sure that they be obedient. Throw things into the fire. Sacrifice. But if you're not, why are you mad? You can't be mad. Stop procrastinating. Shut yourself in if you're that mad. Okay. So for the people who are receiving these things, you need to understand that it doesn't matter who's mad about it. It makes no difference. You need to be totally comfortable receiving reassigned assignments from God, because they're very important commissions that he needs done, and he will get them done through people because it's his pleasure to do so. And it brings him glory doing these things through us that really aren't even worthy, because none of us are worthy. It's a gift that he's giving to us, an extra gift. It's his pleasure. So I want to encourage the people who are actually receiving these things. Be confident in them. Be bold. And carry them forth with Jesus Christ. Listen to him. Stand right next to him, and you cannot fail. It's impossible. How can you fail? You are standing next to the God of the universe. Impossible. Move forward with him. Hail Jehovah.